Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool little arcade game video for you this evening. It's late, but we got this little crane machine in that we thought we would show off a little bit. This is a cool one. This came out in the early 80s and was one of the very first skill cranes. This is a Grayhound crane. Most of the ones that you've seen, of course, have a joystick on it. But the very first ones just had buttons. So you put a quarter in, and then you hold that button down until the claw moves back, and then you let go of it, and you can't move it anymore. You can't go forward, and you can't even go backwards anymore. And then this one will be lit up, and you hold that, and then you go over as far as you want to, and you let go of it. And that's all you get. Simple, simple, simple. You know, these were, way back in the day, they had the digger cranes where you actually had a little mechanical, it looked like an excavator crane in the middle of the game, and you would use some things to move the little bucket over and then try to actually physically pick something up, which was kind of the first variation of it. And those all came out way back in the day, and were electromechanical pieces similar to the pinball machines. But it wasn't until about 1980 that they brought these back out, which is more of the modern style where it's got the claw. These are a neat little design. This is, whenever I think about crane machines, some people call them claw machines, some people call them cranes, whatever. Whenever I think about these, I always remember this type, and usually I remember the ones with the buttons like that because those were the ones I used to see in department stores and things like that. But it's just a real simple design. This one's nice and clean, still working well. It had some problems. We were able to go through and fix it though. The game board in these is really simple. There's just a few relays and a bunch of diodes and resistors, and a little power supply, which is just a transformer, so it doesn't even go bad. So usually whenever you have trouble in these, it's cosmetic. Just need to make it look good and make it look clean. Nobody likes a crane that's dirty because you don't want to give your kids stuffed animals that aren't clean. But neat little design. This one does have a potentiometer on it so that you can adjust how strong the claw is. A lot of people think that the purpose of having that adjustment on the claw to make it stronger or weaker was to screw the player out of toys. That wasn't necessarily why it was there. A good operator would adjust it to where it was just good enough that you could win often, because if you didn't win at all, word would get around and nobody would play the crane anymore. So you had to be able to win every once in a while, but it couldn't be so often that the operator was losing money. So the adjustment on the claw to make it stronger also would help it pick up certain items. So you know, if you're putting something really light in the machine, if the claw is real strong, I mean, people will win every time. If you're putting something really heavy in the machine, you need the ability to turn the claw up so that it can be strong enough to pick up something heavy. So it was kind of a misused feature because some locations did make it where the claw was weak and couldn't pick anything up, but they didn't make anywhere near as much money as the places that were smart enough to at least give you a fighting chance to win it. I used to see these in movie theaters a lot, things like that back in the day. Now the reason it's called a skill crane is because that word skill, oh, couldn't tell what that noise was. That word skill was very important because in some locations these were illegal because it's basically gambling, right? So even if you win half the time, let's say, it's never set up that good, you know. It's more like you'd win every 8 or 9 times, but even if you win half the time, that's still a gamble, you know. So they had to, in some states, they actually got taken to court over this, and their argument was that it required skill to win. And since you manipulated the claw yourself and moved it around and got it to where it was just in the right spot, and You know, there's a certain skill involved in, you know you're not going to be able to pick this guy up because he's too big and he's buried, but you could probably pick that little green one up because he's sitting on top and he's small. There's a skill in that. So their argument in front of judges was, this is not gambling because there's actually a skill involved, and the better your skill, the better your odds of winning. So it's not just straight up gambling, which is based on, according to the law, chance. So if you ever see a game, an old game that took money, a coin-operated game that has skill written on it somewhere, you know that's why they had that on there, was trying to skirt laws and not get their machinery bashed open by the local police department. I'll turn off the lights so you can see kind of how it lights up. Just not much to it. The top up there has some little rope lights in it. It kind of gives it a infinity effect. Those have been replaced a lot over the years. A lot of them had bigger bulbs in it originally. But that's how I always remember them, in a movie theater or something where it was pretty dark. And it just makes you want to put a quarter in it. So there you go. We try to keep one of these in from time to time because people always want them for their game room. But we prefer all the old ones like this. You can get more modern ones and everything, but all of our stuff's usually from the 80s, so we like these old ones the best, actually. And they're usually fairly inexpensive. Now, by the time you see this video, we may not even have this great Grayhound Skill Crane here in our shop anymore. But maybe we'll have another one. You can check out our website and see what all we do have in right now by going to lionsarcade.com. Or you can stop by and see it in person. It's right here by our front door. Check that out. Now we're open from 11 to 8 every day, Monday through Saturday. We're in downtown Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is about 15 minutes south of Charlotte, North Carolina. And we've got a building here just full of arcade games and a few pinball machines and a few cranes every once in a while. And if you're not local, so you can't come by, and you're not even really looking to buy an arcade game, so you don't care about our website, that's fine. Just subscribe to us here on YouTube, and we'll put up tons more of these little videos whenever we get stuff in that we think will be interesting for you. Make sure to check out the rest of our channel. We've got well over 100 videos up, so we will see you next video.